before we talk about the muscle physiology, it's a good idea to go back and review the three types of muscle. So remember that there is skeletal muscle, which of course attaches to the skeletal system. There is cardiac muscle, which is of course found in the heart. And then lastly, there is smooth muscle, which surrounds hollow organs and tubes inside of the body. Okay, so we're going to put our skeletal muscle found associated with the skeletal system, or we'll say bones, right? Cardiac tissue associated with the heart, and our smooth muscle associated with hollow organs. And then I'll also put tubes, right? Tubes are ducts. Okay, so then one of the things that we have to remember is which ones are under voluntary and involuntary control, right? Your skeletal muscle, that's voluntary. Okay, so you have to tell it to move. The other two are involuntary, right? So they are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And then involuntary here. Okay. So skeletal muscle is voluntary and cardiac and smooth muscle are involuntary. Okay. So skeletal muscle, way we recognize it is that it is multinucleated is one way that we recognize it. Okay. Your cardiac muscle is uninucleated, but I'm going to put binucleate in parentheses because there is a couple reports of binucleation of the cardiac muscle cells, especially in the ventricles. Okay, and your smooth muscle is uninucleate. Okay, so if you see multinucleated cells, we're going to be looking at skeletal muscle. Uninucleate could be cardiac or smooth, right? But cardiac can also be binucleate. So then the other thing that we look at is whether or not there are striations apparent. Okay, so your skeletal muscle has obvious striations. So these are very obvious striations. Okay, and that's because of the organization of the proteins that are found inside of the muscle tissue. Cardiac muscle is striated, so it has striations with it. But smooth muscle is non-striated. Okay, so that's one way that we can tell smooth muscle apart from the other muscle types, right? Is that the smooth muscle is non-striated. Okay, the other thing I'm going to put in here is that our cardiac cells are branched. So that's an easy way that we can tell the cardiac muscle from other types of muscle, and that the cardiac muscle has intercalated discs. Remember, those are the modified junctions in between cardiac muscle cells. The smooth muscle over here, I'm going to put these are spindle shaped, or some people like to say these are cigar shaped cells. Okay. So they are spindle shaped, right? So one way that you can recognize those, right? So those are the three types of muscles. During muscle physiology, we will definitely talk about our skeletal muscle, and we will talk about our smooth muscle. We will leave cardiac muscle to talk about when we get to the cardiovascular system, because I think it makes a little bit more sense to talk about cardiac muscle tissue when talking about the cardiac system.